So in the Bible, this was the navigation system, the celestial navigation system. I mean, way in the Old Testament, it was the cloud by day and fire in the cloud by night that they were to follow and depend on. Dependence, that's key here. I know everybody's all about independence and my freedom, but it's all the biblical angle for me. Anyway, not that doesn't suit this world though. But then, yeah, they think really it's more like in Europe, of course, around between 1111 and 1190, the compass, the magnetic compass, came in. So this is a lot like the North Star, okay? Which is important because the North Star is fixated. It's fixated above the circle of the earth. What does it say in the Bible about where God's throne is? He is situated above the circle of the earth, which North Pole, okay? So above that, he uses earth as his footstool. But man created, with the help of Europe, of course, the compass. They think the compass actually had already been created in like 200 BC by China, but but nobody was using it until the 1100s, 1200s. Okay. So before the compass, mariners were coastal pilots. They hugged the shoreline and used the North Star, also known as Polaris, to determine their latitude and direction. That's important because, the bright morning star is mentioned in the New Testament many times, that the bright morning star is the house of David, the house of Judah, the line of Judah, the line of David. So Jesus. But the problem man had is the celestial navigation required a clear sky. If it was cloudy or foggy, sailors were effectively blind and often had to drop anchor or risk drifting off course. Okay, but see, this was what God wanted. Because if the cloud was there, it was God telling you stop. But see, we're way beyond that, aren't we? We're way beyond that. Everybody would say, no, it's advancement. Yes, would be, because Lucifer gave us this great advancement. Will anybody ever say that? No, because they don't want to. They don't care, the technology, they don't care where it comes from. They just, keep heading. Well, the spirit and the soul of mankind perishes. They just, forge ahead. So the magnetic element entered history as a lodestone. Sailors didn't stop looking at the North Star. Instead, they used the compass as a backup. Early mariners actually thought the compass needle was being pulled by the North Star or the magnetic island. It's a Ouija board, really. I mean, that's what it is. It's a Ouija board. It's the equivalent to it. But they think that, no, it's pulling this. No, this is his not pulling. No. Because I said the magnetic field, it comes from the core of the earth, where the molten sulfur and all of that is, okay? It is literally the false light. Yet in the Old Testament, again, what is God looking for? Yes, I gave you free will, hoping that you will, stop being so in your folly of your human wisdom and get a clue. But it's not going to happen, especially, Lucifer's, living high. Well, maybe, his magnetic field is shifting. So see, this is what happens when the magnetic pole, because that's different than the North Pole. The magnetic pole has currently been shifting. It's done this before. And when it shifts, since in the 1100s, well, was it the 1100s? No, around the 1600s. they realized that for a long time, people believed the compass pointed to true north. It didn't. Until William Gilbert, a scientist, proved that Earth itself is a giant magnet. Navigators began to realize that the compass points to magnetic north rather than true north. See, all Lucifer has to do is take you off like 100 miles, and then he leads you astray. Because this is fixated. The science makes all these excuses, I know it's nothing people want to hear. My point again is what is always my message. It's God wants surrender. He wants. The reason they want to come up with their constant, oh, look at our advancement and our greatness, okay, is because, well, the less you need God. So do you think that makes God happy? No. Because God is more than happy to give you all those things. Again, that was his plan, but he wanted it to be on his timetable. So in order to get back to his plan, you need to completely surrender. You at this point, especially with, all the it's just, you won't get people to do it. So it says here that navigators began to realize that the compass points to magnetic north, which is currently located in Canadian Arctic, hundreds of miles away from the true North Star. That's why when this shifts, all the airports have to repaint where their runways are, because everybody follows the false light instead of the true light. This is the gap between the North Star and the compass needle. Mariners had to create complex charts to calculate the difference between what their compass said and where the North Star actually was. So this is how we went from, the celestial navigation to the magnetic, and now it's the satellite navigation. And most people would say, but that's advancement. Well, yeah, under Lucifer, of course, but not by God. Now, all of the government will tell you, no, God gave us these great things. Okay, you keep telling yourselves that. We'll find out who's right one day. It is fascinating how our reliance on the sky has changed. Yes, absolutely. It's so fascinating. To clarify, mankind didn't stop following the stars, but rather shifted to the magnetic compass. Right. For centuries, sailors used both, but the biggest technological leap, this is the way man talks, the biggest technological leap was when we stopped looking at the sky and started looking at the magnet compass, or even better, satellites. While the North Star was the primary guide for thousands of years, the magnetic era began in the 12th century. Sailors realized they couldn't rely on the North Star during cloudy nights or daytime, right? Because it was God's way of saying, stop. You're supposed to fully depend on me. I want to take you, because again, the amount of folly in the human wisdom is that everyone from the Jewish sect all through the Christian sect thinks, no, God wanted you to create your kingdom here. What? Stop it. No, you have to, God gave you free will and you keep exercising it and following Lucifer. Really, that's God. Once you came to the fallen world, I'll take anybody on in the government that wants to try. I will take them on, and I will go to the courts of heaven one day, and I will say, tell them, God, tell them I am right. Because I am, okay? God has always been waiting. Surrender, surrender. You keep wanting, I don't want to take your free will indefinitely, but I would like you to hand it over to me so I can lead you like I led the Israelites out of the magnetic system altogether and the satellite system, so I can bring my children truly home to where they would like to have utopia. But they keep wanting to follow the magnet or satellite king, really the prince of darkness, the prince of the power of the air.